Hello my gorgeous friends on the internet, how you all doing? I hope you enjoyed the previous videos which I dropped. So today we are going to be looking at something awesome. So basically this one is for if you have a mobile app and you want to add payments to it, and your target market is around Africa region and the rest. So today I'm going to show you how to use the Paystack SDK in your Flutter application to take payment from users whenever they try to purchase anything from your application. So currently I'm on the paystack.com website, and you can see it's a modern online and offline payment for Africa. So I'm not going to dig deep into this Paystack. Okay, so today I'm going to show you we're going to create a UI for the application, and then once the user selects his or her pricing plan, we're going to ask them to make the payment based on the price on the pricing plan, and then the money will be deducted from their account automatically. So everything I'm going to be doing is going to be a local transaction. So I'm not going to use any server to verify anything. So it's going to be local. So using local, you're still going to get what you want. Money the money is also going to be deducted, and you're also going to get a success response, and then from that success response you can do anything you want to do within your application. But the other reason why server method is actually important is for you to actually verify the payment, okay, and to check if the user actually made any duplicate payments, all those stuff. But in this case, we're just going to use the local transaction, and if you use it in your application, it's still going to work, because that's what I use in one of my other apps. I just use the local transaction because I didn't have a server to verify and do all those stuff. So without much ado, let's get started. So this is a Paystack account, and I believe for you to want to learn how to use Paystack SDK, you should already have an account. So if you don't have an account already, just click on create free account, and it should take you to a page where you're going to register your business. And then once everything is done, it will take you to the dashboard, and this is currently my dashboard, okay, and you can see the name I use for it. And currently I'm in test mode, so if you want to switch over to business mode, and you have to complete this form. Once you click on it, will give you a form that you need to complete. Alright, so currently now, since I'm just testing this stuff out, I'm going to go to you can see, if you go down your dashboard, you have your keys, your secret key and your public key. Please guys, don't copy this, don't use it for yours, because you can just go, it's just a free account you can create, and then you can make use of your own. So there's no limit to how much you can use this test public API key. Okay, so it's very important for use. Alright, so if you are already in this page, just take note of this public key, because we are going to copy it and then use it in our application. But for now, I'm not going to copy it. Let's just wait until we build the UI and then add the Paystack Flutter plugin to start the Paystack integration. Alright, so for now, let me go back to my project. So this is my app, and I as well have, okay, and I also have this is just a simple basic Flutter application. You can see this is what you get under the hood. So right now I'm going to create the UI that we are going to use to actually make the payments and select our plan. Alright, so I'm going to build this UI real quick, because I assume you already know how to build user interfaces. Alright, so what I'll do, I'll just clear the whole of this page. Okay, yeah, and you want to import this. Okay, is a Flutter. Okay, and then I'm going to use a stateful widget here. No, first we start with our void main. Okay, sometimes my video is normally long. Okay, so the reason why I make it long is to make sure I cover every part that is necessary for you to set up your application. Okay, so just bear with me if it's long. If you want to skip to the part where I integrate the we are integrated we are started the Paystack integration. No issues, you can just keep this part and then move on to the other side, but I just like showing everything. Okay, so for you to know, like to see how I did the integration and the rest of them. So now I'm just going to do everything inside this one app, but the payment, where I'm going to handle the payment is going to be in a separate class, and I can just call it from here. All right, so it's not going to be a difficult task, so I believe you guys can also follow along. So now I'm just going to put the home page. So this is just a simple home page, and make sure you remove this because I'm not using no safety, so there's no need for having that. Okay, so now I'm going to have a scaffold widget here. All right, so right now if I save this application now and show you, let me save it and see. Okay, we are having issue unimplemented handling of missing targets. All right, okay, that's because I need to do a hot restart because I just added a material app. So let me do a hot restart here. Okay, I just hope this works. Okay, so it just needs a hot restart because I changed the whole of this stuff. Okay, so now we have this blank page because you can see we just have a blank scaffold widget here. So now I'm just going to go on and integrate the widgets, and then we start integrating the Paystack SDK. Okay, so right here, this is my app, my snack bar. I'm going to create an app bar. So basically the app bar is just going to go plan. So I just have a background color of transparent. Okay, and I can have as well the elevation to be 0 because I don't want anything like any shadow under. Okay, so now the reason why I'm putting this app by is just to give space. Like you can use safe area for this, but I just wanted to use this one to make it good. So I also have the container. So the container is just going to have a padding, and which will have an insert of 20. Then I'm going to give it a child, and the child is going to be a column because it's more like a plan. So we should have on one side for the title of the plan, and then the other side for the grid view that is going to show the plans. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to return a children. So the first one is going to be choose a plan. Okay, so it's just going to be more like a widget, and it's going to be a container widget. So I have an alignment, so we can just give it an alignment to be center. Then I can also give it a child widget, so this is going to be a test. Then we can have choose your plan. So I can just break the line here, so choose your plan. Okay, so then what I'm going to show you this real quick. Let me just finish all of this. So test align, you can give it test align as well. Okay, and give it center. Then I can as well give it the style. So I just want to make it bold a little. So this is basic things that you guys should know if you already know Flutter and you want to integrate Paystack. So you should be familiar with all of this. And okay, so and I also have the font weight. The font weight is going to be a bold. Yeah, I'm going to give it bold. So I need a comma here. Okay, and I think I'm good. So I can just save it and see what the output will be. So save it and let me open my. Okay, so you can see what I just did. Choose your plan, and I use this new line to actually break it from here to show here. Okay, so we just simple. All right, so if I remove this new line now, it will just be in one line straight up. So let me save it and show you. Okay, you can see here it's just going to be in one line straight up, so I had to put that new line to break the line. Okay, so there's nothing complicated here. It's something you guys can just work out and do it yourself. So now let's move on to the part where we are going to add the grid view. So basically the grid view is going to be here. That's going to show the data we want to show for the users. So it's going to be more like the grid view. Okay, but before I do that grid view, it needs a data that I'm going to use to populate it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a list of map. So a list of map that is going to have the price and then the number of items, okay, you want to check out. All right, so it's going to be more like a map. Okay, for now I can just leave that. Let me just use final to declare this, and then I can call it plans. Okay, and then it's going to be a list, as I said. So the first one is going to be a map. So more, I'm just going to have a price, and the price, the first price is going to be 500. Okay, so you can make it dollars, you can make it naira, whichever one you want, but for, I think Paystack is just naira, so we're just going to go with naira. Then I'll have the number of items, so make sure you put this number of items, or instead of number of items, let me just call it items, and then we can say 5 here. And then, okay, so now I can just duplicate the rest of this, okay, instead of doing it one after the other. So just duplicate it for 4 times should be okay. And then this one, I'm going to change the price to 1000 naira, and this one is going to be, okay, 6, and this should be let's say 35, and we can make it 9. Okay, so this one is just based on your pricing, how you want your pricing plan to be. You can just modify it the way you want it to be. So I'm just doing this based because I'm just showing you guys how to integrate Paystack. So it's just more like a basic example, but in your case you can do it to look good, to look nice and the way you want. So now, right now, I have the plans, and nothing really changed in my application. So even if I save it now and show you, nothing still changed. It's just still the same thing because I just added a map here. All right, so now let me go back to okay, so I'm still here. So what I'm going to do here now is to create a grid view, but first I want a space to be between this container and the grid view. So I can just use my constant with the size box and give it a height of let's say 20 should be good. Okay, so, and this thing will still not change anything even if I save it. So now I'm going to create the body, that is the grid view body. Okay, grid view, I think I already have it here. Okay, so this is it. Down here I'm going to create it's going to be inside an expanded widget because I want it to take the available spaces, that is many. And then it's going to be a child, okay, child of grid view. All right, so we need to also specify this grid delegate. So from this grid delegate, we are going to specify the cross-axis count, the cross-axis spacing, and also the main axis spacing. So the cross-axis count is more like how many items you want to be in the row. So ours is just going to be 2. Okay, so I'll use the sliver grid delegate. Okay, fist count, yeah, fist count. And then we have the cross axis count. I'm going to make it 2. And then we have the cross axis spacing, which is going to be 5. And then the main axis spacing is going to be 10. Okay, and I think we are good. But right now we are still not going to get anything even if I update this because we have not created anybody. All right, so you want to see it, let's save it and let me show you. Right now, no changes because I've not created any widgets to return the body. All right, so now let's get this real quick again, and I'm going to go down to, okay, the children. I need to create the children. So these children, I'm going to map through this main plan. So we're going to have 4 children based on those items we have. You can see we have 4 items inside this list. So what I'll do, I'll just create a children. Okay, it's not there. It should be inside here. Okay, children. So I'll just do it more like a list dot map. Okay, list dot generate. So how many items is going to be 4 items. So I'll just use the plans dot length. All right, so I believe you guys are already familiar with all of this because I treated these things in my previous tutorials. You can check it out for more ideas. All right, so right now we're just going to return a test. So let's just see how this stuff is going to display. So just return a dummy test. Right now this is just a dummy test, but later we are going to populate them with these data. Okay, so let me just show you this real quick, and I've saved it, and let me go back. You can see the items. This one is the first item, second item, third item, fourth item. The reason why we're having 4 is because I specify the plans to be of the length of this, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 items inside this list. That's why we have 4. Assuming I increase this again to 5, we should also get 5. All right, so now let's run down real quick. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this because I want to build the real widget. But before I build the real widget, I need to be able to get these data. And to get this data, I will just call it to data equal to then this plants. Okay, so we have the plants and I can specify the index. Okay, all right, so I just pass in the index there. And now I can return what I want. So basically I want this stuff to be like a chip, whereby when you click on one it will color green, and when you click on the second one, anyone we select will color green. No one that we didn't select is going to be a normal color. So I'm just going to use the gesture detector to do this. I can use choice chip if I want, but I want to create our own, and I'm going to show you how to create your own instead of using choice chip. Okay, all right, so I'm going to have a tab, so leave that blank for now. So now I'm going to create the body, the child, and it's going to be a card. So because I want it to have some shadow and some elevation, so we can give it a shadow color, and this shadow color can be colors dot, let's say, green, and we can give it an elevation of 5. Okay, then secondly we have a child which is of type container. So this is more like, okay, I'm building the body right now. So, okay, so I will give it a padding as well, just the way I did for the first padding which I specified, which is, but this one is going to be 20. And then you also need to give it a decoration. So I'll give it a boss decoration. Yeah. Okay, we can just leave the boss decoration empty for now, or you can remove it if you want, because we still need to do some changes, because I said I want to change the color whenever we click on it. Okay, so we're going to handle all of that inside there. So right now I'm going to specify the tests. Okay, but this test, since we have 2 items here, I want to display them in columns. So the child I'm going to put here is going to be a column. Okay, all right, so let me just show you what I'm doing real quick. Let me just show you a test first before I go and move on, so that she won't get lost. Okay, close this, close this, close this. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. Let me save this up and let's bring up our UI. Okay, so you can see how the UI is. I just specify the card, and this is the card. And you can see I specify the color, which is the shadow color is green, and the elevator, and then the container which has this text as its child. Okay, all right, so now the next thing I'm going to do now is to use a column to actually display this real data which we have here, instead of showing all of these gibberish. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'll just return a column here. Okay, so this column is going to be of children. Then I'll have the first test. So basically the first test is going to, you can use dollars, you can use naira, whichever one you use. So I can just use N to represent naira. Okay, then we can then use, so naira is actually a Nigerian currency if you don't know. So now I'm going to get the data. So to get this data, now I'll call this data, and with my square bracket, and then I'll check the key. So the key here now is I want to get a price. Okay, so we can copy this and paste it here as a string to get the price. So I believe you must have worked with JSON before. If you haven't, I have a video on that, and I'm going to put it in the description below. Right, so I also want to give it a style. Okay, so once I do this, I'm going to show you. Let me first of all give it a style, and it's going to be, I'm going to give it a font size of 25, I believe. 25 will it be okay? Okay, I think 25 is going to be okay. So now let's save this and see how it will be. All right, so we have the naira, the pricing. You can see this one is 500 naira, 1000, 35, and we have 56. Okay, so now we have those pricings. So now let me add the second one, which is for the items. Okay, so we can just copy that and put it here. So the items, I don't want this size. Okay, we can just remove the size. I don't really need it. So now this, instead of having price here, now I will change it to items. So copy that and put the items here. Okay, and you can remove the naira. Okay, so let's see, save it. Okay, we need to put some, okay, remove that, save it, and let's see. All right, so we have the more here. You can see 5, 6, 10, 9. All right, so now this stuff is not aligned to the center. Maybe I can just give it let me see if it's a main axis. Okay, I can just give it a main axis alignment to be center. Okay, so let's see. Oh, main axis alignment, that's center. Okay, so save that and let's go back, and now you can see it's being aligned to the center. Okay, so now moving on, let's do this real quick and do some modification ASAP. So now I'm going to go number of posts, we can say number of items, 5 more items. So we can say like get more 5 get 5 more items. Okay, so I can just add more text here. I can say get more, and I can have this in another line. So okay, I can just have this in another line. So we can just have get more items, get 5 more items. Okay, whatever the number is. Okay, so you want to see what I did, let me show you real quick. So just save it, and you can see get 4 more items. All right, so this is more like looking good. So you can design this whichever way you want. So I'm not actually going to tell you how to design your UI, so you can do that whichever way you want. So now I'm going to create a button under here. So this button is just going to be like a button that is going to help us to check out. Okay, so once you select, you can just check out to the button. So I just have a gesture detector also, and it's going to be of tap. Okay, so tapping, you just call the Paystack payment here. Okay, you can call Paystack. Okay, then I'm going to have a child, and this one is just going to be more like a simple container. Okay, and then I'm going to have an alignment. So just give it an alignment because I want the items to be in the center, and I'm going to add an icon as well. So dot center, and I can give it a width. So the width, basically I just want it to be to just full, so of context, and you can give it a size. Okay, dot width. Okay, then I can also give it a decoration. If we need, we can put it a padding. So the padding can be agent sets dot all, yeah, all. So I'll make it 15 because I want the button to be a little bit bigger. So I can give it a decoration as well. So this is going to be a boss decoration. So give it a color. So the color is going to be of type let's say green. Okay, so and I can give it a child as well. So remember I said I'm going to put a column, an icon. So this row now is going to give it, because I also want to put it on the center, so I'll use a main axis alignment dot center, and then I'm going to give it a children. So the first one is going to be the icon. So we're going to go with icon. Okay, and say icons dot security, more like, okay, telling the user, hey, this is a secure transaction. Okay, yeah, it should be a secure transaction. So we can give this colors dot white, and make sure you close this to eliminate those errors. And then the second one is more like a size box, to just give it some space. Okay, this is going to be a width of 15. Yeah, all right, so guys, we are almost done. We're just going to complete this real quick. I'm also giving you more knowledge outside the Paystack. I'm not just going to go straight to the Paystack, and because there are also some certain things you guys are going to learn from this video. Okay, so I can say proceed to payment. So this is like a button that will tell the user, hey, come on, proceed to payment and let's get that cash. Okay. All right, so now we have the test style as well. Okay, so here I'm going to have the color to be white, And also I'm going to get, okay, I don't think there's anything again, so we should be good with this. So let me show you the app now. All right, so we can open this and you can see the button I just created, and it has the security, yeah, the icon security of white. Okay, you can see how it's showing here. So proceed to payment. Once you proceed to this, once you click on this, it will get the plan that you selected, and then it called the Paystack. But right now, if you click on anything, there is no effect, so we need to know which item that the user selected. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to create, I'm going to use the choice chip as I said initially, but I'm not going to use the choice chip. We are going to create our own from scratch. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually a string that is going to get the price and also the count, okay, the number of items, but I can just omit that number of items. So I'm just going to show you how to send the price to Paystack, and then you can do whatever you want to do. So for now, inside this, okay, inside here, so I'll just create my variables, create variables. Okay, all right, so the first variable I'm going to create is an integer, okay, to like say, okay, selected index. Okay, and this is more like the index that the user selected, because I want to change, whenever you click on any card, I want to change the color to green to show that, okay, you've selected this one already. And then we can create another one for getting the price that we are going to send to Paystack. Okay, and one other thing again I want, for now I'm just going to set it to 0. So one other thing I want you to know is that the Paystack SDK, also you need the email of the customer that you're transacting, that wants to make the payment. So if you're getting if you have the email already of the customer, you need to send the email alongside, so that once the transaction is done, Paystack is also going to send the email back to that user. Okay, so you want to make sure you get the email address of the user. But since I don't have the email address of any user, I can just make use of my own dummy email. So I can just say email, but make sure this is not your email. Let it be the email of your, so this is my email address, so it should be the email of the customer that wants to make the transaction. Okay, but if your app does not get the email of the users, no problem, you can just use yours and just validate all the stuff. So this is the email I'm going to be using, but for now I'll just comment it out. Okay, then now I'm going to create, okay, okay, I don't think I'm going to create anything. So now I'm going to set and check for some index and see if, okay, I'm going to check, I'm going to set the state. So inside this card, okay, so whenever the user taps on any card, I want to change the color. Okay, so but to do that, I'm going to go to the colors. Remember I created the decoration to be empty, so I will check here, this is the color. So if I'm going to check, I'm just going to use a straight function and say if the selected index is equal to null. So you can see now currently it's equal to null currently. Okay, so I didn't assign any value to it, so it's equal to null. So if it's equal to null, I can just return null there, so I don't want any color. But if it's not, let's say if the selected index is equal to this current index, if it is, then we can return a green color. Okay, that we can make the background green. But if it's not, then we can just make it null. Okay, so I believe this is much more explainable. All right, so if the index is null, just return null, don't change the color. But if the selected index is equal to this current index, which is what we are getting from here, so we're going to make it to be green or set it to null. So right now, even if I save it, nothing is going to happen, because from the look of things, okay, even if I save it, nothing is still going to happen. Nothing is still going to happen even if I click on it, because I need to set the state once we click on it from this gesture detector. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to set state. Okay, whenever you click on it, I will set state and set the selected index to be the current index that was selected. And also remember, we are also going to get the price Okay, so I'm also going to set the price to the price that the price of the card that the user selected. So it's going to be price equal to plan, and we get the data, not plan, data, and then we get the price. Okay, all right, so we are good. And yeah, so Paystack, there's actually another thing again I want you. Okay, I'm going to show you that while we proceed. So let me just leave it this way first. So I will save that stuff, and now we have this. Whenever we click on it, we set the state to the index, and this one will now check if the index is equal to index and change it to green. So let's see. All right, so now if I click, you can see how it's changing. So now we're actually getting the value. If I click now, it will set the state, the index, the current index to this, and then the current price to set it to this one as well. So you can see how everything is very cool, very nice. Okay, so now we can move on to the next part where we click on this button. Once we click on this button to now, okay, for now let me just print out the current price that the user selected whenever we click on that button, and that will make us to go to the next page. But I need to check some condition. And if the current index is equal to null, that means the user have not selected anything. We can just show error to them. So I can just use if statement. So if the selected index is equal to null, so I can just return a scaffold messenger. Okay, so this is more like a scaffold. I'm showing a snack bar. Okay, so it can just be a test. Please select a plan. All right, and that is good. So now, but if everything is okay, we can just call Paystack payment. So I can just copy this comment and put it here. So we can just call Paystack payment. But for now, let me just print out the price that the user entered. So that is the price which I set the state to. Okay, which is this one, and this is where I set the state whenever we click on each item. All right, so I'm just going to do a hot restart here real quick. Okay, let me just do a hot restart and bring the app to make everything clean. All right, so now if I click on this button, it should show me the snack bar. Please select a plan, because I've not yet selected any plan. But if I click on this 1000, okay, let me click on 1000, it will select it, and once I click, it should print out the pricing for us. All right, so we have the price 1000. If I select 35, it also have the price 35. Price this. Okay, we can also have the price. All right, so now it's time to integrate the Paystack payment. So to actually add the Paystack payment, we're going to go to our browser, and okay, so this is my Paystack. So I'm going to create, first let me copy my key. All right, so I will go back to my code, and I'm going to create a constant variable. So this is more like, okay, I want to call constant. Okay, let me just create it as a folder. Okay, because I can have more than one constant in one file. So this is going to be a constant. Okay, and then I'll create a URL, or I can just call it key.dat. Okay, so here I'm just going to have a class constant key. All right, and then I can have a final, or I can just make it a static variable, static const. So this is going to be a string, and I'll call it Paystack key. Okay, and then save the key here. All right, so I expect you to create your own account to get your own key instead of copying mine. So now I have the key. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create another folder for payment. So this is just going to handle the payment for us. So this is the payment class. So I can call it Paystack payment. Payment page. Okay, that. Okay, for now we're going to leave it empty. So if I go to my prospect.yaml file, I don't have the Paystack SDK here. You can see I don't even have any dependency of apart from the Cupertino icons. So to actually get everything up and running, I already have this here. So if you go to pub.dev packages and type Flutter package, so you should see this lovely package here, and they actually showed us how to integrate this stuff and the rest of them. Okay, so you don't have to worry. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hold you in the hands and then show you how to integrate this. Okay, so you can go to your the installing, either copy this and put in your dependency, or you just copy this one. Okay, go to your VS Code and to your terminal, so you just paste it here and then click enter. So it's just going to download all of the dependency and then add it to your prospect.yml file. So while this is running, I need to show you, if you look here to the example app, you can get some idea of how to run it, and you can see they also have a method of showing you how to do for local, also how to verify from the server and the rest of them. So you can see it, you get a reference, you get a card UI, and you can get a platform button. Okay, fetch access code from server. You can verify on server, so they just showed you everything how to use it. Maybe this verification from server and the rest, I'm going to treat it in the next tutorial. But okay, for now we just go with the local, because with the local you can still get what you want. Okay, you can still make the payment, get the user will get your stuff and whatsoever. Okay, so once it's been installed, we can go to the readme. All right, after installing, I don't think I need anything here again. Okay, all things good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my code now. All right, so the dependency had been added, and if you look here now, you can see we have the Flutter Paystack. Okay, so we can run pub.get Flutter pub.get. Okay, and whenever you add any new plugin, always make sure you restart the app again. So I'm going to kill it and then start it up again. All right, no, you can close this and make sure you start it up again. All right, so to avoid any kind of issues. So while this is running, I'm just going to real quick and set up the payment page. So the payment page is just going to be a normal class. So we're going to call it make payment. Okay, so it's going to have a constructor. So the first constructor is going to be a contest. So I'm going to have a make payment. Okay, because I want to create a contest. So this first one is going to be a build contest. Okay, so I'll call this CTS for short, and then we're going to have the amount, which is it should be this dot, instead of that, this dot CTS. So we're going to create this real quick, and this one is going to be this dot the price. Okay, so we don't need any other thing again, and then I can create the build contest. Okay, for the CTS, and then the price is going to be an integer, so it's going to be int of price. Okay, so let's say you already have the email of the user, you want to send it whenever they click on that button. We can just create another one called email. So this is more like a string. Okay, so which you are going to get from the user whenever they call on this. So we can call this email. Okay, all right, we are good. So we have the contest, the price, and the email. That's the only thing we need for this tutorial. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to call the Paystack plugin. So I believe this dependency has been added, so let's call the Paystack plugin, and I'll call this one Paystack. Okay, so this is more like creating the Paystack instance, the object instance. Then I'm going to initialize it here, so call it Paystack. Paystack small letter. All right, okay, so this is still running. I don't know why it's taking time like this. Okay, all right, so we have the Paystack plugin, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to get because we need a reference, or I'm going to show you this later so that you can just see the errors I'll be encountering, and then from the errors you know, okay, why am I putting this? You know the reasons why I'm putting all of these stuff. All right, so what I'm going to do now is to create a method that will initialize the plugin for us, and then we can then pass in our Paystack API. So it's going to be more like a future. So I don't think I'll specify a type here, but let's just, because it's not returning anything though, so I can just call it initialize plugin, and it's going to be in a sync. Okay, then I can just await this call and say Paystack, which is this variable I created here, this instance. So I can say Paystack.initialize, and it needs the public key. So the public key is actually coming from the key I created here. So remember the class name, which is constant key.paystack key. All right, so you can just call constant key.paystack key. All right, so now we have that. Okay, now we have the initialize plugin method there. So this thing is still running, so I can just, okay, let me kill it first and just give it some time. So we're going to pause here first. Let me just start it up and just wait for it to load first. Okay, so the app is up and running now, so everything is still working as expected and no errors so far. Everything is good. So now if you print this, it's also printing out the current price. Okay, so now let's go on to integrate to complete this part. So what I'm going to do next now is to create a charge card and make payment method. Okay, so I don't want to create the reference because I was supposed to create the reference here. Okay, I was supposed to create the reference here and also a method for getting the UI. That is the UI, the user interface that I just showed the model. All right, so but I just want to show you how, where you need to put all this stuff and why you need to put them, because I don't want to just go straight like that. So we're going to create a method for charging a card. Okay, so to charge the card. Okay, so once we do the method and pass the amount, then Paystack SDK will handle all of those stuff. So now let's create a method. So I'll call this charge. Okay, charge card and make payment. All right, and it's also going to be in the sync. So here now I'm going to initialize this plugin because it's very important. So I need to initialize it. Initialize the plugin, but you can do this in case you're not separating your own payment in a separate file. You can do it inside your init state in your normal widget. Okay, but since I'm separating it, so I need to call it here. So I need to say initialize. So once it's done, then we can do whatever we want to do. All right, so this value, we don't need it. I can just put an underscore there. Okay, so now and we can now call the charge. We can now create the charge card. Okay, so charge card, and I'll call it charge. Okay, remember all these stuffs are coming from the Paystack SDK, you can see. All right, then I'll initialize it here to be charge card, and yeah, charge. I see change. No, not change. Charge. Okay, so now to access most of the property, I'll just use the spread operator. So the first one is going to be the amount. So the amount is going to be this, which is price. Okay, you know, Paystack they calculate their own payment in Kobo. So if you are putting 100 naira, if you just put 100 naira here as the price, it's going to treat this as, yeah, it's going to treat it as a, okay, let me close this first. It's going to treat it as a, if I put 100 naira here now, it's going to treat it as a kobo. So what we are going to see is like 10 naira. So it's not nice. Or if you say $100, it's going to be like 10 naira. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll change this stuff to be, so this is the price. Okay, I'm going to put the price, and this is our price. And to actually convert it to a normal naira, because he returned it as a base currency. So to actually return this to be a normal naira, whatever value you are putting, multiply it by 100. Okay, just multiply by 100. All right, so you won't have any error. So if you are putting 500, multiply by 100, so it just give it the exact value 500 naira. If it's 1000, multiply by 100, you give it the exact value 1000 naira. But if you just put the price alone, let's say 1000, you put the price, it's going to be 100 naira, and then you're charging 100 naira from your users. You know, that's like, oh, I undercharge them when I'm supposed to charge them 100 naira. All right, so that we have the next one, which is the email. Very important. And close this up. We don't need to put any stuff here, so you can just put your email. So the email, since I said we are getting it from the user side, so I'm just going to pass the email here. So whenever we are creating the constructor, we're going to put that stuff inside there. And then the next one is the card itself. So the card is very important. Then the reference. Okay, this is the reference we need to put. And we need to put this reference. Is very important, but right now I don't have the reference, so I'm going to create the reference. Okay, so the reference is more like, you can just say like a string. Okay, you can just put any string of your choice that you want. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just I'll create a string of get reference, or we can copy it from there. Okay, let me just show you how to do this real quick. And you can go to, okay, example, where I think there's a place where they put, let me just search it real quick. So let's see if you can get reference. Okay, so this is it, get reference. We can just copy this stuff. All right, and go back to my code and paste it here. So basically what is happening here is, if can we import this? Okay, .io. All right, so what is actually happening here is the platform. So if the platform is iOS, we get iOS. So if it's not, we get Android. So the reference is just a normal string, charge from. So if it's a platform, you say Android, charge from Android, and then the datetime.now milliseconds since endpoint. So it's just a normal thing. You can just use any string or the name of your application, charge from Bazaar, from this so user, you pass in their email address. Okay, so the get reference, now I'm going to put it here. All right, so since it's a string, we don't have any issues there. Then the next one is for doing the, which is for what is it called, the card. Yeah, we need to also set the card. So the card is more like the UI that's going to be displayed. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a get card UI. Okay, all right, then we can terminate this here. So I need to create the card UI. So I'm just going to create, okay, get card UI. So basically this is going to be like a payments card. So there's a widget from Paystack, from the Paystack plugin. So we can call this payment card, and call this the name, which is get card UI. Okay, and we can, it's going to be an async, or no need for async because it's just a widget we are returning. So I'll just return the Paystack payment card. So the payment card requires the number, the CVV, the expiry month, expiry year. So if you already have the CVV, the numbers from the user, you can just populate it here automatically. But since we want the user to input them by themselves, I'm just going to return this as a string, an empty string. You can see this one requires a string, this one also a string, this one is an integer and an integer. So just the CVV, which is the normally signature, you can put it to be empty. This one put it to be 0, and this one set it to be 0 as well. So you can terminate this. Okay, format your code. All right, so we are done with that part, and now we have the get card UI. So I don't think there's any other thing that is required for us to do again, because everything seems good. But right now we also need to specify the type of card we are actually charging from. Okay, so we have inside this charge card, we are not done yet, so we just created the charge card method. So now let's create the checkout response, so to actually get if the checkout was successful or not. So it's going to be like the type checkout response. So I can call this response equal to await. So you know, we cannot use await here because this async is already here. So what I will do, I'm just going to add a async here as well, so that we'll be able to use await. And then I'll call the Paystack. Okay, this one we created, this Paystack instance. Okay, so just call it Paystack.checkout. Okay, Paystack.checkout. Okay, so checkout, then the context is going to be the context we created from the constructor, which is this CTS, very important. And then the card, we're just going to pass this charge. Okay, so that's it. And then we are going to specify, this is just like the basic ones you need to set up, but it's not all actually. So we need to specify the method. Okay, so we need to specify the method. So for now we're going to use by default is selectable, in which you can select either to charge from a card or from the user's bank account. But this method we're going to use checkout method dot card. Okay, so it has three methods there: card, card, bank, and selectable. Okay, by default is selectable. So we can just specify full screen. I like going it with first so that you can just show us a model. All right, so we can also show the logo. So in this case I don't have a logo inside, so assuming you have a logo, maybe in your asset folder, you can just put it. It's a widget. Okay, you can just put the logo image.assets and then pass in the image, and it should be of width 100 and height 100 so that you won't overflow and all the stuff. But in this case I'm just going to use the Flutter default logo. Okay, to get this the size can just be 24. all right. Okay, so I think we are almost done with this. I can save this. So now I need to get the response to know what exactly is happening, whether the user cancelled it or not. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'll check for if statement. So if first, let me just print out the response. It returns only true or false. So if the response is false, that means the transaction was not successful. But if the response is true, that means the transaction was successful. So we can just use if statement. So if response dot, you can get the account, the verify, and the rest of them. So we can say the status. If the status is equal to true, so we can just print out transaction successful. Okay, that means everything went through. But if it's not, we can just print out transaction failed, then the user can try again. Okay, transaction failed. So you should know what to handle here, how to do it. Maybe you want to update your UI, you can just do everything here. You want to send something to your Firebase database or whatsoever, you can do it here. All right, so this is everything we need. First, we create a reference. We create the get UI to just get the CVV, the number, the experiment. You also have other methods you want to add, address, country, and the rest, but those ones are optional. We also have the initialize plugin, so we call it here. So once it's done, we can then create the charge card and then pass in the amount. Remember I said it's in base currency, which is like a kobo in Nigerian currency. So we can just sum the and get the product of the price with 100. all right, to get it in form of naira. all right, then we pass in the email, which is a string, then the get reference, also a string, and then the card, which is like the widgets to get the UI, and then we check if the response and every other thing is successful and then print it out. all right, so now we are going to call this stuff in our app. So right now, even if I save this, and you can see there is nothing changed, it's still similar stuff. So what I'm going to do now, go back to the main.dat, and where we have that button, I'm going to this charge Paystack. So remember I commented this email, so let me just assume you're getting this email from the user. all right, the user's data, so or their profile, you can just get it, but this one is just my default email address, so I'm just going to use it. Okay, and I'll go here. So what I'll do, I'll just call the charge card method the class I created. So from the class, make payment dot charge card and make payment. That's what I'm going to do right now. So I'll say make payment, and then first thing first, pass in the context. The email as well is needed, right? Okay, pass in the email and then pass in the price. So is there any other required parameter? Okay, nothing else. Then we can call dot charge card and make payment. all right, save that, and we're going to do a hot restart here. So in case you're not seeing my UI, let me just reduce it a little so that we can see what is printing out. Okay, All right, so I just did a hot restart now, and if I select this, which is 1000, and proceed to payment, it should bring out we have 1000 printed out, and you can see now the pay naira is 1000 naira, and you can see my email address is being shown here, which is talk to destiny ed, which is the email address I passed. And we also have the Flutter logo. Yeah, this is the Flutter logo what I created, so I just passed in the Flutter logo here. So assuming you already have an asset image that you have, like the logo of your application, you can just pass it there. So now we need to put in the card, put in the card expiry, the CVV. Okay, but now there are some cases whereby you want it to be selectable. All right, so you can just put it selectable, but using selectable you also need to pass something called is it access code? Yeah, you need to pass the access code. Sometimes you can get this one from your server. Okay, for now I'm just going to use 12345 because I don't know the access code I want to use. Okay, so we can close this, and all right, so it will ask you, do you want to cancel transaction? If you press yes, it will print out transaction feed. You can see it as you have cancelled the transaction, everything feed, and the response, transaction terminated, card null, everything null. All right, so now it's showing transaction feed. Even if it happens based on network error, you're also going to get that message that transaction feed. That means we didn't deduct any money from the user's account. All right, so let me save this now and see how this selectable is going to work. So click on it. You can see selectable. We have card where you can put your card. We also have bank, and choose your bank to make payment. You can choose your bank, Zenith Bank, United Bank of Africa. But if you have an accurate access code, it should list out all the bank available in your region based on the access code you have. Then you can put your bank account number and then verify it. But I am not using this one. I'm going to test with card. Okay, so we can just change this stuff. We can remove the access code and then change this stuff to, instead of selectable. Remember, you can also use, if you want bank or alone, you can use bank, but you must put your access code. Then in this case, I'm only using my card. Okay, so let me save that. Okay, so terminate this transaction. Okay, so select 35 in this case, and then we have 35 here, so pay 3,500. So to get this thing running, I need some test card. So if you go to Paystack website, if you go to docs-v1 paystack.com docs test cards, you should see tons of test cards which you can test with. Okay, so I'll be testing with this one, which is card number and the rest of them. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this. Okay, this is a Valve card, so it has an expiring date. You can put any date in the future. Using this one, we are not going to charge anything from your account, okay, but they are going to send the email to that email address you provided, and also your own email address, but I might not show that part. So what I'll do now, I'm just going to bring up my application. So inside here now, I'm going to paste that CVV. Okay, this card number I copied, you can see is a Valve card. If it's let's say if it's a MasterCard, it's also going to change to MasterCard. So the card expiry date, I've just put a month in the future, 22. All right, then the CVV is going to be 884. All right, so just put 884, and now we are good. So you can pay the 35, and Paystack will handle everything. So we need to confirm you're the owner of this card, so please enter your card pin. All right, you need to enter your card pin, but in this case they've already given us a test pin that we need to enter. So if you are in production, it's not going to show you all this stuff, so you need to put in your main card. The user needs to put in their main card pin. So now it now asks us to kindly enter a mobile number at least 10 digits. Okay, so we need to enter our mobile number. So they gave us 10 digits, so I can enter my mobile number here. That is where they're going to send the OTP to. All right, but in this case they're not going to send any OTP, so you don't have to worry. So let me just use how many is there? Okay, all right, so we can authorize. Okay, and then please enter OTP. So assuming they send any OTP to your phone, you should receive it and then enter it here. But in this case they're telling us none will be sent to your phone because we are using a test card, and the public key we are using is a test version. So if you want all these things to work in production, let's say you are releasing your application, so you need to So I'm going to enter this OTP here, which is 126, sorry, and authorize, and it should tell us that payment successful, you paid 3,005. So by default you should receive this email in your application. So if we go back now to our code, it should print out transaction successful. Let's scroll down. You can see we have transaction successful. So now we know that everything went through, and you can see the payment card, which was the CVV, the expiry month, the expiry year, the verb, the type is a verb card, the digits, okay, last digit of the card, okay. So remember, you did not return the password, so you don't need the password of the user. So this was the reference which you pass, charge from Android, and this is the reference code. Status was true, and then the method, checkout method.card, verify true. Everything, you can see it verifies everything for us and made the transaction on its own for us successfully. So guys, you can see how everything went through, and now once you get this transaction successful, you can actually navigate the user back to your home page and then do some things you want to do, or send maybe you want to send some list of data to your database. You can send it and all the stuff to actually verify that the user actually did the transaction, okay. Or you send this reference back to the database, okay, for all those transactions. Then your backend is going to handle everything, okay. So everything is good, everything is nice and cool. So this is what I wanted to show you guys, how to integrate Paystack in your Flutter application. So you can put card. If I cancel it, you're going to print out transaction fade. So just print yes. You can see transaction fade, and it didn't print out the card and all the stuff. So once you get transaction fade, you don't have to do anything anymore to the user. You don't need to, because you don't need to update any UI or whatsoever. You can just ask the user to retry again and all the stuff. So far guys, you have seen how to choose your plan. Okay, I showed you how to create your own custom chip, choice chip, and also show you how to integrate Paystack payments gateway into your Flutter application and then charge and all the stuff. Okay guys, I think this is where we are going to wrap up the video. Alright, so in case you are ready to publish your application, just go to test mode and click on test mode. Your business is in test mode, so you need to submit some data for them to actually verify that this is a real business. And once you are done, you will also get a public key. So once you get a production ready public key, you just go back to your key here and then change this key to your production ready key. All right, and then you're good to go. Everything will be nice. This test account is no more going to work, so you're going to work with live card, right? Live user card, and they will be sending OTP and other stuff to the user. So you can just explore this part. Okay, so check out the paystack.com docs test card and the rest of them. So I will see if maybe I'll put all this stuff in the description below and for you guys to check out. And also this code, I'm going to deploy it to GitHub, and I'm also going to put the code, the GitHub repository, in the description below. Take care guys, and do well to subscribe, share and like. I'm going to see you in the next video.